Not the ideal way to start your coaching tenure with the Chicago Bears if you are Ben Johnson. And it's not the ideal way to start your number 2 with the Chicago Bears if you are Caleb Williams. As I currently record this video, they're 0-2 on the season. Now it's 15 games left in the season. They can go out there, they can play better, and they can be a top of this division. But I'm just saying right now, in this short 2-game sample size, the Bears do not look good. And one thing that is pretty apparent here, they cannot bounce back from adversity. They don't handle adversity very well. And this is based off of last season. Well, a lot of the players that are still in this roster, like Caleb Williams, DeAndre Swift, the same with Rome Odunze and DJ Moore. When they lost against the Washington Commanders last year, they gave up. That Hail Mary play, they gave up on Matt Eberflus. They gave up on the season. And so Thomas Brown became the interim head coach. Then they started to fight for him and they performed better. They did have the one good game against the Detroit Lions. Matt Eberflus still has that timeout to this day in his back pocket. But this is the problem with Chicago. This is even back to when Mitch Trubisky was a starting quarterback, even back to Justin Fields. Whenever they run into a tricky situation, they just give up and they just say, you know what, on to next week. And the reason why I say that, when you felt the momentum swing last week against the Minnesota Vikings because you were up 17-6, they didn't try to go out there and fight for that game. You see JJ, he's out there bouncing back from his mistakes, those turnovers. He still feels like they're in the game. You can see Kevin O'Connell on the sideline talking to his team, saying, hey, we're still in the game. We're still in the game. Justin Jefferson goes to JJ. JJ goes back to Justin Jefferson. He's saying, hey, don't give up on me. Justin said, I'm not going to give up on you, man. Let's go out here and let's win this game. They're down 17-6. And JJ had that pick 6. Look at the culture that they have compared to Chicago. At halftime in this matchup against the Detroit Lions, right before half, Isaac Tesla, he comes down with the ball one hand. A lot of Bears players, they have their helmets off. They're ready to go to the locker room for halftime. The referees come out and they say, not quite. There's still time left on this clock. They get the helmets back on. Tyreek Stevenson, he gave up that huge play to Isaac Tesla. He gave up the receiving touchdown the next play to St. Brown in the red zone. And you can just see the body language with the Chicago Bears. They're just shaking their heads or shrugging their shoulders. You can just see it in their face. They're over this game. After just 2 quarters? And when JJ's going out there last week, he's getting these touchdowns, especially the rushing touchdown. You can just hear the building. They're groaning. And you just see the players on the sideline are shaking their heads. They're not talking with each other. They're not going out there. They're not saying, hey, let's get back into it. Let's go. They're not excited to get back on the field. And I know that Kevin O'Connell has been the head coach for many years with the Minnesota Vikings here. He's built that culture. He's established that culture in Minnesota. He outcoached Ben Johnson, who is a first-year head coach. But this is where Ben Johnson comes into play here. Now, this is all my opinion. And we've seen this for other coaches too, and Coach Tomlin, Bill Belichick, Dan Campbell, Dan Quinn, all of them. Can you go out there and can you get these guys on the same page and can you keep them engaged in the game? Because when you're the offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions, all you had to worry about was offense and offense only. You didn't have to worry about defense plays. You didn't have to worry about special teams. You have to worry about everything now because you are the head coach. And it has only been 2 games. But he's been outcoached not once, but twice as the Bears head coach. That is not good. The clock management is not there. He's basing a lot of his decisions off of emotion over and over again. Why are you going for it on 4th down against the Minnesota Vikings? Just take your 3 points. You already have a quarterback that's rattled on the sideline. Let your defense continue to ball out in week 1. Take that field goal. I understand Santos, he missed a kick later in the matchup. That's possibly 6 points that are left on the board, but you lost by 3. You lost 27-24. Be a better coach. Trust in your team. You still feel like you're coaching the Detroit Lions. You don't have the same personnel, even though you have a revamped offensive line. And we'll get into the players here in a second. But it's a small decision with Ben Johnson so far. I'm scratching my head. Hopefully he can grow into that role. And look, no one is perfect. No head coach is perfect. No offensive coordinator is perfect. No player is perfect. No one on this earth is perfect. I understand that. But can you be better than you were the week before? He wasn't better this week than he was last week. And as the game went on against the Minnesota Vikings, you see Caleb Williams, he's starting to get rattled. We've seen young coaches before, Sean McVay, his first year with Jared Goff. When Jared Goff got rattled, he found easy plays, get the football out quick. And he was the head coach. Kevin O'Connell with Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins gets rattled in the 3rd and 4th quarter. Hey, late in the 4th quarter, let's switch this over. Let's run different plays. You see Caleb Williams is struggling against the blitz. You're still calling deep shots down the field to Roma Dunze, and the same with DJ Moore. Now, those guys were open, but you don't have much time to let those routes develop down the field. So get the football out quicker. And that's what you did in the first half, not only just in the Minnesota Vikings game, but also in this Lions game. Now, let's talk about Caleb Williams here, and he'll coincide with the Ben Johnson conversation. Caleb needs to be more consistent. I'm not on that hype train of going out there and benching Caleb and putting in Tyson, because they did put in Tyson in the fourth quarter. And what did he do? He missed a major throw late in the game. Right now, he's not a better quarterback than Caleb Williams. And they selected Caleb Williams with the first overall pick. They made that trade with the Carolina Panthers, and they didn't know that was going to end up being the first overall pick. It's a lot of reports that came out that Ryan Poles was so sold on Caleb Williams, he wasn't willing to watch anyone else's film. He only wanted to see Caleb and Caleb only. Caleb in the first half, last week's game, to begin the game against the Minnesota Vikings, 10 of 10, red hot. He's on the sideline. He's pumped up. He takes his helmet off. He's saying, let's effing go. He was 10 of 24, 105 passing yards to finish the game. He missed crucial throw after crucial throw that could have helped them win that matchup. It was one throw to DJ Moore, beautiful play call by Ben Johnson. He's wide open on the sideline. It's a tight window throw. He overthrows him. Accuracy last week was terrible to end the game, but it wasn't all on Caleb Williams. But in the first half, he's getting the football out quick. He was deadly accurate, but they brought a lot of pressure towards him over and over again. I don't think that Caleb is that good against the blitz in the NFL. We saw that last year, and we just saw that last week, and we saw it in this game against the Detroit Lions, because he comes out in the first half, 14-19. Looks good. Did have a bad interception, but he drifts out to the right. He tried to throw the football away. It goes for an interception. You hate to see it, but he's a young player, and you're number 2. Hopefully he'll learn from that. You just can't throw the football deep down the field recklessly. This is not USC. This isn't Oklahoma. This is the NFL. But for the rest of the game in the second half, 5 of 11. And mostly that was against the blitz, and he got sacked 4 times. He's not playing on schedule in the second half. I don't know if he feels like he has to go out there and play hero ball to get his team over the hump, or if he doesn't trust his teammates. But eventually, those hits that he's taking is going to add up. I don't care how big, how physical you are. You cannot continue to take hits at this level the way that Caleb is taking them. Last year, not every sack was on him. His offensive line was putrid. Last week, the offensive line had some good moments. They had some bad moments. But it was a lot of time on film. I'm looking at Darnell Wright and I'm looking at Jonah Jackson, and I'm saying the right side of this offensive line is terrible. But he has enough time on the left side. He has that creativity to move outside the pocket and make crazy throws. But he's a wild bull right now that can't be tamed. Because what comes with those crazy throws will come some bad plays to where he gets sacked for 10 to 15 yards, to where he holds onto the football for a very long time because he's trying to make a play. He has to trust in his playmakers. And he still has those nasty habits from last season. Ben Johnson's trying to get that out of him right now, and I think as the season goes on, he will get better. If it doesn't, you may have that conversation to move off of Caleb Williams, but right now, he is a young player. Still give him time. Well, at least that's what I'm going to do, because we're in year number 2. And considering the fact that he had so many coaches in his ear last year, Thomas Brown went from being a position coach. You had Shane Waldron as your offensive coordinator. They fired him. He was terrible. So Thomas Brown became your main offensive coordinator. Matt Eberflus was your head coach. Moved on from Matt Eberflus. Thomas Brown's now your interim head coach. And Caleb Williams came out and he did confirm. I had to watch film by myself. No one was in there telling me what to look for and what to do. That's not the case now. You have a solid quarterback coach. You have a guy that worked with Jared Goff, who was a phenomenal offensive mind for the last 2 years with the Lions. So this is on Caleb Williams. This is on everyone yet again. Caleb needs to be better. And I hate the media cycle that we're in. Certain quarterbacks, you can tell straight off the bat, they're not good. Like Josh Rosen. He was a terrible quarterback in his first year. It was time to move off of him. And they had Steve Wilkes as the head coach. But Josh Rosen was terrible. You can see quarterbacks in the past like Brock Osweiler. Caleb is not a terrible quarterback. The problem that Bears fans have ran into, and the problem that a lot of fans have ran into in general, they look at quarterbacks and they hear the media cycle, generational talent. So that means he can go out there, he can be the next Patrick Mahomes. That means that he can go out there, he can carry the franchise on his back. It doesn't work that way. We only have one Patrick Mahomes in the NFL. That's it. Jalen Hurts, in my opinion, is one of the best quarterbacks in football. He has a complete team around him. And I know this also hurts Caleb Williams. A lot of people, they hate that he paints his nails. I don't care. To me, it doesn't bother me. But they hate that he paints his nails. They view quarterbacks to go out there and be this rough monster that can go out there and make unbelievable plays over and over again. Or they view a quarterback to be like Tom Brady. The perfect clean-cut guy that'll go out there, be the locker room leader, rarely makes mistakes on and off the field. I understand it. So he's a bit different. He's out there. He's emotional. That's what Caleb is. But I don't view him as a guy that was supposed to come in and change the fortunes of the Chicago Bears. This is a point that a lot of people don't bring up. Justin Fields didn't work out. They selected him in the first round. Mitch Trubisky didn't work out. They selected him in the first round. The Chicago Bears traditionally have not been able to develop a quarterback to the next level. Now, this case is a bit different because they changed everything. Ron Poles goes out there. He brings in a hot offensive name. And Ben Johnson, he brings in key weapons on the outside and DJ Moore. You go out there, you have Roma Dunze, Colston Loveland, who could be a very good rookie and a very good tight end long term. And they have Cole Kmet. So there's a bunch of weapons here with Luther Burden. And a brand new revamped offensive line in the interior with Joe Thuney and All-Pro and with Drew Dahlman. So Caleb needs to play better. But the hate that Caleb Williams gets, in my opinion, is just too much. And I feel like a lot of it is just hate directed towards him because of who he is off the field. And a lot of Bears fans, they just love Jayden Daniels. They felt like Jayden Daniels was the first overall pick the entire time from LSU. And they felt like a lot of the media members, they pushed Caleb to go out there and they pushed him to be this guy that he wasn't. That's fair. I'm not going to come on here. I'm not going to go into the comment section and say that you're crazy for saying that Caleb Williams is not, that Jayden Daniels is a better player than Caleb Williams. I'm not going to come out there and say that. But at the time, Caleb was a highly sought after prospect. And it still takes time. Peyton Manning did not win his first playoff game until 6 years in the NFL. And I know that's a different NFL, but it takes time here. But Caleb needs to be more consistent. He needs to be better. The defense here in today's game, they couldn't get a stop. They couldn't stop a nosebleed. They were terrible. Dennis Allen had the right game plan last week against the Minnesota Vikings, against a young player, and J.J. McCarthy. You go out there against the Detroit Lions, and you're the away team. Jared Goff got into rhythm early and often. 28 to 23, 334 passing yards, 5 passing touchdowns. He carved up that defense over and over again with St. Brown, who had 3 receiving touchdowns, with Jameson Williams, who had 2 catches, 108 receiving yards, and 1 receiving touchdown. Isaac Tesla, who had the crazy catch before halftime. And Brock Wright is going out there looking phenomenal. You got punched in the mouth, but how do you bounce back? Not only are you 0-2 on the season, you're 0-2 in your division. It's safe to say that the Bears need to be better. And if they're not better, there is going to always be a conversation around this organization, what is going on. But they've tried different things. And the reason why I'm trying not to overreact here, I saw the Denver Broncos a few years back, Sean Payton, first-year head coach. They had 70 points put on them. They performed very well for the rest of the season with Russell Wilson. Bo Nix did not look good the first 3 weeks last year. They made the NFL playoffs last year with Sean Payton. We've seen a lot of quarterbacks in year 2. 4 or 5 weeks, they don't look too good for the rest of the season. They started to perform very well. But I look at it from this standpoint. Ben Johnson, he needs to be a better head coach. Caleb Williams needs to be a more consistent quarterback. And the body language needs to be better. I'm tired of seeing him go on the sideline. He slouches down, he slams his helmet. Just chill out. You didn't throw an interception. It was possibly a 3 and out. It happens. It's going to happen. Bounce back from it. But they need more leadership with this organization. And I trust that the defense will be better next week. But let them figure things out. That's what I will say. But let me know in the comment section below how you feel about Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears so far. I don't view him as a bust. Considering the numbers that he put up last year in the bad situation, the bad offensive line, those were solid numbers. But if he continues to fizzle out in the second half, we can have that bust conversation sooner than later. But if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, when each and every last one of you guys stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for the video, guys. God bless. Peace.